Hi guys, I'm Kinsey. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing a tutorial for my blossom top. This one. I've made a blue one too. If you guys been following me over on my TikTok, you've seen that one already. But I wanted to give you guys a tutorial because I've had so many comments asking the stitch pattern for the bottom or how they can get their hands on a pattern for this top. It is my design, so I will be going over how to do the whole thing, the cups and the bottom and the straps and the tie in the middle. So I'll show you guys here what it looks like on. The tie in the front is where you're going to tighten it because it does have a back. Most of the tops that are crocheted nowadays have the crisscross on the back like a corset, and I'm not a huge fan of that, so I created this design. So that tie in the front, it does tighten it around your bust and hold the girls up pretty nicely. Another thing I will say before we get started is this pattern is made in a medium, just because that's what my size is. So if you're a similar body type to me, a medium would be perfect for you. I do kind of mention in the beginning of this tutorial, when we get started, that the beginning chains up in here are different for the extra small, the medium, and the large, extra large. They're a little bit different, and I kind of do explain that. But for the most part, it is a measure to fit pattern. So I will explain, like, you'll measure it, how much it goes around your back and everything. You can just expand on that. So if you need it bigger in a certain place, you need it small in a certain place, I will give you the parameters to adjust. So that's kind of what I do anyway, is I'll measure it around my back and around my bust and see where it fits best. And that's the length that I make it. But I do help you guys through that, depending on your size. So let's get started. Okay, to get started with the blossom top, you will need a bunch of cotton yarn. I'm using this cone from Lily Sugar and Cream. This cone is enough to make 2 of these tops. So you don't need a big cone. You'd probably need, if you buy the little ones, you'd probably need 3 of those to make 1 top. So you need some cotton yarn. It should be cotton just because it's best for summertime garments. It's breathable, it's washable, you can throw it in the dryer. So I do recommend cotton yarn, any color. You need a pair of scissors, a tapestry needle, or a yarn needle, and a 5mm hook, as well as a 4mm hook. Okay, so for this tutorial, I will be making the medium size just because that's what I wear. So we're gonna start with the cups. So we're going to take your yarn and you're going to make a slip knot. Grab your 5mm hook. And for the medium size, you're gonna chain 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, for the small, you're gonna chain 12, and for the large, you're gonna chain 18. So for the medium, we're chaining 14. We're gonna chain 1 more, so we have 15 now. In that 14th stitch, so not this one, we're going to single crochet. Okay, now that we have that single crochet, we're gonna switch from the 5mm hook to the 4mm hook. So the reason we do this is so that the center, this is gonna be the center of our cup, is tighter knit, so you can't see through it. I don't put liners on my tops just because it's harder to wash, and if you wear them in the water, then they get, saggier and all that. So I don't like to put liners in. This is what I like to do to keep it tight in the middle so you can't see through it. So now that we've changed to a 4mm hook, we've worked into this stitch, we're going to single crochet into the back loop of all of these. So let's go into the next stitch. See, I'm going through this back little loop here, not the either sides, just the back loop. It makes it a lot tighter in the middle if you do this. If it's easier for you to go through the front, then that's fine. You just will have little gaps in the middle of your top. So I like to go into the back loop. All right, so we have that turning stitch and our first single crochet. We're going to work into the back stitch all the way to the end of our chain. The reason we chained with a 5mm hook is to make these back loops looser, so it's easier to get that 4mm in there, because it tends to be a little tricky. Don't worry if it curls up a little bit. See how mine's starting to worm? You just kind of, it'll straighten itself out later, so just ignore that for now. It's just because we're working in the back loops. This does tend to be a little tricky, so just take it with a grain of salt, have some patience, and you'll get there. Even me, I've been doing this for a while, and it takes me quite a bit of time to get through these back loop chains. But in my opinion, it's worth it. Okay, now that we've crocheted all the way down, this is where we turned, and this is going to be our turning point for the cone of the cup. So we have one single crochet in this top stitch already. We're going to make 2 more in that same stitch right there. Okay, so we're going to do 1 single crochet and 2 single crochet. You'll notice that it turns you, so you're already kind of turned this way. You have a total of 3 in this top stitch now. 1, 2, 3. But we're already turned to go back down this side. So again, you're going to make that single crochet into that last stitch and then 2 more in that same stitch to get you to turn. All right, so I'm working over my tail. You don't have to. It's just so I don't have to sew it in later. You're going to find that next stitch. Since we worked into our back loops, you can see that there's very clear V's that are going to be easy to work into, just like a regular single crochet. So that's why I also like working into the back loop. So into the next stitch, we're going to single crochet. Whoop. These will be a little tight. Single crochet all the way down to the end here, and I will meet you guys there. Okay, so we are at the end of this row, so we single crocheted up this side, turned all the way around this side, and now we have 1 more stitch left here. So you see it's a little bigger there. I want you to go through and just single crochet. This will be our flat side. So you can kind of see here already, this is kind of flat and this one's rounded. So this is going to be the outside of your cup, and this will be the curved inside. So now that we're here, still with our 4mm hook, we're going to flip our work. And you can chain 1 here. I don't like to chain 1 on single crochet, so I'm just gonna make sure that this is loose enough on my hook, and then just go right into that first stitch. So that's our first single crochet. We're gonna do the same thing that we just did. It'll be a lot easier than working into the chain, so we're gonna crochet all the way up, do our turn, and all the way back down. So I'm gonna do that with you guys. All right, so the next stitch, we're gonna single crochet, keep on going. If you're struggling with the 4mm hook, it's just because this yarn, Lily Sugar and Cream, calls for a 5mm hook. So you are sizing down. It's gonna make it a lot tighter. You will have to pull a little bit more. I just like that tighter stitch there. If you're struggling with using the 4mm hook, you can just use a 5mm hook. You will have some spacing in the middle though, so just a forewarning. We've made it down to our turning points. You can see here, this was our old top stitch, so there's 3 in it. 1, 2, 3. We're gonna single crochet in the first one. Ooh, it's quite tight. And then in this middle one, so this is 1, 2, and 3, so in that second one, we're going to do the same, and we're gonna do 3 single crochets in the same spot. 1, 2, 3. So it's turned us again. So now that we've done our turn, we can just single crochet all the way to the end. I know I tend to crochet fast, so if you need to pause the video, you can. I'm just single crocheting to the end here, so you can catch up with me once I get to the end. Okay, this was our last stitch, so we're going to single crochet in that last stitch, pull up and turn our work again. So you can kind of see it's forming. You have a flat side, and then this is going to be the rounded side of your cup. It will start to curve as you make it bigger. We're going to do the first 4 rounds. So this is 1 from the center we're counting. So 1 and 2. So we're going to do 2 more of our all the way around with the 4mm hook. And after that, we're going to switch to the 5, but I will show you guys that as well. So we're going to do this again. I don't like to chain one. You can if it's easier for you. We're gonna single crochet in the first stitch and then all the way up until our turn. Okay, see, these are our top 3 stitches again in that spot. So we're gonna single crochet in the first one, do our turn, so that is 3 single crochets in that middle stitch. So it's 1, 2, 3, and then single crochet in that 3rd stitch. So then we make another turn. Okay, so we're gonna single crochet all the way back down to the bottom here again. Okay, now that we're at the end, you want to make sure you go all the way to that last stitch, make a single crochet, and flip our work. So we're going to count again. Here's the center line, so we're going to count from the center. You're not going to count from the bottom. You're going to count from the center because our rounds go all the way around. So this is 1, 2, and 3. We're going to make 1 more row with our 4mm hook. Okay, we're going to single crochet in that first stitch and all the way to our turn again. Okay, we're back at our turn. If it's hard for you to recognize where the turn is and you're a beginner crocheter, I recommend putting a stitch marker in the middle one every time you crochet 3 into that same spot. Put a marker in that middle one. I don't like to, just because I've been doing it for so long, you can kind of recognize where it turns. But if you do struggle with that, that's an easy option. Okay, so we're gonna crochet 3 single crochets in that middle stitch. So 1, 2, and 3 in the same spot. Then in the next one, we're gonna single crochet. So we've turned again. You can see that the 4mm makes this really tight up here, especially when you're pulling on it, because it's going to be tight on your body. It's pretty seamless, and that's why I like to use a smaller hook. So we're going to single crochet all the way back down, and I'll meet you there. Okay, and our last single crochet of the row. Make sure it's tight, and turn your work. So we have 4 rows now. So 1, 2, 3, 4 with our 4mm hook. So we're gonna loosen this and we're gonna switch to our 5mm hook. The reason I do this is the middle of your cup. This is the part that needs to be the tightest. Just because this is the center of your boob. So you want that as tight as possible. Once you switch to the 5mm, it will kind of help it gradient into the size it's supposed to be instead of being super stiff. So the center will be the stiffest just so it covers, and then it'll get nice and flowy out here with the 5mm hook, because that's what the yarn calls for. So 4 rows with the 4mm hook, and then we'll move to the 5mm hook. So for the medium size, I like to do a total of 11 rows from the middle. So don't count from the bottom, count from the middle of where our chain started, 11 rows. So we've already done 4, and then we're going to continue to 11 with our 5mm hook. I will start off with you guys with the 5mm hook. Same thing as we were doing. You want to single crochet in that first stitch and all the way down until our turn here. It'll be the same, you're just using a bigger hook. And it might be a little tough again because you're using a bigger hook in a smaller stitch. So this first round might be a little tough, but that's what makes a nice gradient from tight to loose. All right, here's our 3, 1, 2, 3. So our single crochet in the first one. Ooh, these are tight. And 3 single crochets in that middle one. 1, 2, and 3. And then a single crochet in the next one. Ooh, it's quite tight. So you just need some patience. All right, there's our turn again. And we're gonna single crochet all the way back down to the end. Should be a little easier with your 5mm hook just because it's a little looser tension than the 4mm. It's easier on your hands. That's why I switch. Okay, and same thing, you're gonna wanna work into that last stitch. Pull up and turn your work. So this will be the same until we reach our 11 rows. So this is why I like to work in my tail. You can kind of tell where the center is. This is the first row. So we're gonna count from here as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right now. So we're gonna work until 11, until it's 11 rows big, and I will meet you guys back here. Okay, and that should be 11. So let's count from the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so now that we have 11, I'm gonna chain 1 to secure off, and we can cut. I'm gonna pull up and tighten this to secure off. And that will be one of your bra cups. You will need to make 2 of these. I already have, so I have 2 of them. Make sure that they are the same size. For the medium, remember you're chaining 14 plus 1 to turn. So that's 14, chain 1 to 15, and then turn. And then you're doing 11 rows from the center. For the small, it's 12 chain plus 1 turn, and then it's only 10 from the center. And then for the large, it's 18 in the middle, chain 1 turn, and then it's going to be 12 from the center to the outside. So it's only a little bit of difference, but this length is what counts the most for the size change. So for the medium, you should have 11 and 14 chain in the middle, and we need 2 of these. So make the second one, and once you have, then we'll meet back here and I'll show you how we're going to attach them here. Okay, now that we have the 2 cups made, you're going to want to put the points together and make sure that the wrong side is up. So you see both of my tails are on this side, and then the bumpy side of the single crochet on the outside. So you don't want it opposite. See how clean this looks? You know, you want it to be wrong side up first. So we're going to start at this end, and we're going to crochet along the bottom until here. I'll show you guys that so we can connect these 2 together. Okay, so you're going to take your yarn, make a slip knot. You're going to take your right bra cup, take it, and we're going to start in the corner. So you're going to want to push through the first single crochet, and you're going to put your loop on your hook, tighten it up a little bit. You're going to pull through and chain 1. That's going to be our first single crochet right there. So we are going to work into the next stitch, single crochet. We're just going to single crochet along the bottom here until we reach the third from the middle. And I'll meet you guys back there, but we're gonna crochet all the way along here. I'm crocheting over my tail here. You don't have to, you can leave it out, but I do so I don't have to sew it in later. Okay, so like we were doing before, see how there's 3 in 1? This is the top of our cup. So we're gonna single crochet in the first one of those 3. And then before we crochet into that middle one, I'm gonna take my second cup and line it up, find that middle stitch, and I'm gonna go through this middle stitch on this one, and I'm gonna go through this middle stitch on this one. So I have both cups on my hook and my yarn. Do make sure that your cups are the same way that you laid them out on. They're both the wrong way. And make sure that they are going the same way. So you have both cups on your hook right now, and you're going to yarn over and pull through all of them into a slip stitch. Oops, it might be a little tough. Here, I'm gonna have to do that again anyway. It is tough because it is pretty tight and thick, so make sure they're going the right way. Make sure you're in the middle too. Yarn over and slip stitch through all 3 of them, so they're connected now. So the middle stitch of this one and the middle stitch of that one are now slip stitched together, and we're going to continue single crocheting along the bottom here. I like to turn mine so it's a little easier. So here's the next stitch. We're just going to continue single crocheting so you can kind of see where it's joined there. Here, I'll show you. I'm going to single crochet a couple more. So this is where they are joined in the middle here. And this will be the bottom eventually. Okay, so we're going to continue single crocheting until we get to the end here, just like we were doing before. Simple single crochet. Okay, so we've started here. We crocheted all the way along, slip stitched in the middle, crocheted all the way along, and there's 1 stitch left on our left brawl cup. Okay, so we are going to crochet 3 in this one to turn. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, and we're now working up the side. So we crochet down here, slip stitch in the middle, crochet down here. Now we're going to turn and crochet up the side. We're just working our way around. Okay, so you can kind of see, because I didn't do chains in between my single crochets, you can kind of see the clear spots to crochet into, but every row should have a spot to crochet into. Make sure you have each row for each stitch. So I am just single crocheting. It's going to be a little harder because it is tight. See where our turn is right there? It made it nice and square. This is the bottom. We're going to work our way up to here. Okay, so we have worked all the way along here, slip stitched all the way up here. We turned here. We're going to turn our work. This is the bottom that we've connected. This is going to be our top. You see I have 1 stitch left right in here. So I'm going to single crochet right in there. Make sure you get in all of it to the top. So we've rotated it. We've started down here, worked our way here, worked up the side, and then we're going to do the straps right now. So once you've gotten it done here and up here, you can meet me back. We're going to do the straps. Okay, now that we've crocheted up the side and we've made it to the top, this is where we're going to start our straps. So the first part of this is pretty easy, still with your 5mm hook. We're going to chain 80. Okay, so if you're seeing here, I only chained 10 so far, but you're seeing how it's pulling up right here. You want to have this, when you crochet into here, you want a single crochet and then start your chain, so it gives it a nice shape. Okay, so we're going to work up a chain of 80, and then I'll meet you back when we get to the end of our chain. I finished my chain of 80, so I'm going to resituate so you guys can see better. For each size, I always do 80 chains. It doesn't matter what size you have, 80, it goes around your neck very nicely. If you need it longer, you can. It doesn't matter if it's an even or odd number. It's, you know, however long you need the straps to be. And remember, we're tying a bow around your neck because it is a halter top, so you need enough length for that. So I do recommend at least 80, but if you need it longer, you can. So once we've reached the end of our chain, I've got 80 here. I'm going to start slip stitching back into the chain. So some people like to do the back loop. It's just a lot harder. I think it looks better too if it's in the front loop. So I'm just going to go back at the front loop. We're skipping this one where the yarn is coming out of, and we're going into the next one. We're going to slip stitch. So go through this one, and we're going through that one as well. So we're going to continue down the chain. Slip stitching all the way back down. The reason I slip stitch back into the chain is to make it stronger. You can just leave it as a chain, but the slip stitch does make it a little thicker and it's a little more sturdy. So like you see, like this has a little bit of a give to it, and then this is pretty strong. You know, that's gonna hold the girls up, you know? So that is why I do slip stitch back into the chain. All right, we are gonna continue all the way back to our top. When we get back to here, stop right before your last stitch here, and I will meet you back here. Okay, I have made it back down to the base of my chain. So you can see here, we slip stitched into the entire length of the strap. So now we got the strap done. So I've got one more chain space here, and then we have our single crochet that we did before. So in this last chain space, we're going to do the same thing we have been. You're going to slip stitch, and then in this single crochet, we're going to go through the top of the single crochet in this loop here, and then through the side pillar there. I'll do that again so you guys can see. Okay, you're going to go through the top where the V is here, and then this sidebar right there. So you should have 3 loops on your hook. We are going to slip through those 2 and slip through that 3rd one. Make another slip stitch. That'll give it extra support at the base. Okay, in this same stitch where that single crochet is, we're gonna single crochet again. So now your strap is connected to the top of your top. All right, so from here, here's where we're at. We're gonna crochet down into this V here, and then I'll show you guys how to stitch it up here. So from here, we're just gonna crochet into each single crochet that was already there. Again, I'm working over my tail. You don't have to if it's too much, but I like to. And make sure, since we've attached this here, make sure it's still in the front of your top. Make sure this didn't get twisted so it does match up, so these stitches and these stitches are facing the right way so it doesn't get all backwards. Okay, so the right side of your stitches should be facing front now, the ones that you've already done. Okay, so we're going to continue to single crochet all the way down into the V. Okay, so right here you can see we have this stitch here, and then we have these little ones where we slip stitched into. So you should have like this half one, this slip stitch, and this half one here. So in this space, this is going to be your last single crochet. We're going to single crochet in there, we're going to skip this little space right here. So this one, and this one, and then back into the full one here, we're gonna single crochet as well. Don't chain anything, we're just gonna connect it into here. Okay, so you're skipping those 3 tiny ones. Right in there. I'll show you guys again. So you're skipping this here, you're going right in here. So it should look like this. Okay, so here's your top, and this is the bottom still. All right, so we are going to continue back up to the edge of this cup here. Okay, now that we've crocheted back up to this top, there's 1 stitch left, so we're gonna single crochet in that stitch. Okay, and we're gonna repeat on this side what we did to this side. So you're going to chain 80, and then you're going to slip stitch back down and then adhere it here. So I will meet you guys back down before we slip stitch it back to the top. Okay, I've chained 80 and slip stitched all the way back down. Make sure your strap is not twisted. We're going to slip stitch into that last stitch. And then attaching it again, we're gonna go through the top here and through this side post. So you should have 3 on your hook, and you're gonna pull through all 3. Okay, to make that slip stitch. All right, and from here, you're going to single crochet in that same stitch right there. All right, so now your strap is attached to the top like we did on the other side. And the last part of attaching these 2 cups together is we're gonna work in single crochet all the way down this side to meet where we started. So we're gonna single crochet in the side of each of these. Okay, we've single crocheted down most of the side, and right here in this last stitch, we're gonna single crochet. And then see this first stitch we did here, which was our chain 1. We're gonna slip stitch right in there. It might be a little hard to get into. We're going to slip stitch right into there. So now we have gone all the way around your top, did both straps, and we've reached the place where we began. So I'm gonna cut off my yarn here. Oop, I'm gonna chain 1 to secure off and cut the yarn. So our next step is to work on the band around the back. This top goes all the way around, so there's no lacing in the back. This is a halter top, so the only tie is gonna be on the top. Okay, to get started on the bottom, we're going to flip your project upside down. So this is the top of the top, and then this is going to be the bottom where we're gonna be working off. So once you flip it upside down, this is where we ended before, see your tails. You're going to start on the opposite end. So on your left, you're gonna start over here. And this is where we did 3 single crochets in the same stitch. So you're gonna find that middle single crochet, and you're going to get your hook through there. Okay, so that's your middle single crochet. All right, so you have your slip knot on your hook, and you have your middle stitch on your hook, and you're gonna pull that slip knot through and chain 1. So now your yarn is attached. Okay, now that we have the yarn attached, we are going to chain for the bottom, and it should be a multiple of 7 because the stitch pattern we're using on the bottom is a 7 stitch count, so it has to be a multiple of 7. So for the medium, from here to back here would be 112. So for the medium, we're chaining 63. So those 63 stitches plus these stitches on the bottom are 112. Total stitches should be a multiple of 7. So if you need it bigger or wider around the bottom of your bust, you can. You have to add 7 stitches or take away 7 stitches. So for the medium, this is a tighter flare fit. It is not a ruffle. So if you would like a ruffle, I would suggest adding 7 to 14 stitches extra through this chain. Okay, so I like mine tapered and not ruffly. So for the medium, I'm going to chain 63, and then I have these on the bottom, which would be a total of 112. So starting here, I'm going to chain the number that I would like, multiple of 7, make sure. And once you have the chain, we're going to attach it back to this side. So for me, I'm going to chain 63. Okay, so I finished my chain. So we're going to flip our project around so that I can attach the chain from this side to this side. So then you see how it's creating a back here. So you're going to want to attach it here. So we're going to slip stitch it into this spot that we have already here. Okay, so now it's attached to the bottom of your top. You see here? So we're going to work along the bottom of the top now. So there is a tie in the front, so we are going to work spaces for that tie to weave into. So working from here, we're going to chain 1, okay? And we're going to single crochet in that same spot where we just chained 1 from. So it should be this little cluster right there, okay? So you have a single crochet, and then we're going to chain 1, skip 1, and crochet in that second space. So you're going to single crochet. So we're going to continue this all along the bottom. So you're going to chain 1, skip 1, single crochet in the next one. You see how it's creating these spaces here? I'll do it again. Chain 1, skip 1, crochet in the next one. So you skipped this one here. Chain 1, skip 1, crochet. Okay, so we're going to do this all the way along the bottom until you get to here. So just work your way across. You're crocheting 1, chain 1, skip 1, crochet 1, chain 1, skip 1 until we reach here. Okay, so I'll meet you when we get there. Okay, now that we're close to the end, see here I have my crochet, single crochet 1. I'm going to chain 1. I'm skipping this stitch and you're going right into that corner stitch there. And I'm going to single crochet. All right, so that's the bottom of our top in the front. So we're going to do the same thing, working into the chain here. Okay, so this was our crochet 1. We're going to chain 1, skip 1, and then we're going to work into that chain and crochet 1. Chain 1, skip the chain, and in that next chain you're going to single crochet. You're going to chain 1, skip 1, single crochet. Okay, so you're going to do this all the way around. This leaves the spaces, those chain 1 spaces, for the tie that's going to go in later. So we're going to work this chain all the way around until we reach the beginning where we started with the chain 1, crochet 1. Okay, so I will meet you back around after we've worked in the entire chain. Okay, so I have made it all the way around with my chain 1, stitch 1, chain 1, stitch 1, and I slip stitched into that first single crochet that we made. So now that we are here, I'm going to secure it off and cut. All right, and since all of our tails are right here, I'm just going to tie them together so they don't go anywhere. Okay, so now that we have the strap around the back, it should be a little stretchy, still upside down. So from here on, we're going to be working with the top down, and you're going to be working up the bottom. Okay, we are going to find the center of our top. There's going to be 1 chain space that is the center. See here, we just did that, you know, single crochet, chain 1, single crochet. We're going into this space here. So this is why I call the top a blossom top. This is my blossom stitch. So it's going to be a fairly simple repeat. You're going to have a slip knot made up. You're going to attach it in the middle. Okay, so you get your slip knot, and we're going to chain 1 to secure it. Okay, so we're starting from the center and then working our way around, so each round should start right in the middle of the cups here. Okay, so first we have it secured, so you have this chain 1 right here. Okay, we're going to chain 2 more. I'm going to do a double crochet in the same spot in that chain 1 space. So I'm counting this chain as a double crochet. So you've got 2 double crochet. We're going to do 3 double crochet to make a granny stitch. So you have those 3 here. We're going to chain 1, and then we're going to do 3 more double crochets in that same spot. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so you've got your 3 double crochets, your chain 1, and your 3 double crochets. So from here we're going to skip 7, so you land in another space. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're going to go right in there. It does look like a big space, but these do stretch, so we are going to yarn over and do a double crochet. No chains, no nothing. So then these will spread out like so. Okay, so that's our first double crochet. We're going to do 2 more for first chain 1, and then we're going to do 3 more double crochets. Okay, so these will spread out like so. We're going to be working into these chain 1 spaces later. Okay, so when you are skipping spaces, this is going to be a little bit looser tension because you want this to be stretched out a little bit. When you're skipping spaces, make sure you're working into these chain 1 spaces here, so it's easier to fit these 6 stitches in there. Okay, so we did skip 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we worked into the 8th stitch. Now that we've got these 2 done, we're going to continue this all the way until here. It's going to be a little different on the straps, and I'll show you how. Okay, so same thing, we've got our 6 stitches in here, so we're going to go skip this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we're going to go into that space right after that 7th one. Okay, make sure it is a chain 1 space with the double crochet. We're going to do 2 more double crochets. So you've got your first cluster, and you're going to chain 1 and then do 3 more double crochets in that spot. 1, 2, 3. Same thing, we're going to skip 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're going to work into this one here. All right, it's a double crochet. 2 more. Chain 1 and 3 more double crochet into that same spot. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so into these chain spaces is going to be a little bit harder to count, but it's going to be essentially the same thing. So you're going to be skipping 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then here's that space right there. Okay, so we're going to be working right into this space with a double crochet. 2 more. First cluster, chain 1 in the same space. 3 more double crochets. this is what it's looking like so far. That's how it's gonna look like on the strap as well. And remember, this is our start of round right in the middle, okay? So we are gonna work the same stitch repeat all the way around until we reach back to the middle, and I'll meet you there to show you how to join. So we are going to continue with these shells on the back. Okay guys, I am almost all the way back around. And if you notice, I do this on purpose, that you're going to have about 11 stitches left. This gives it a little extra flare on the bottom if these stitches don't match these exactly. So you should have about 11. If you have 12 or 13, you know, don't stress about it. You don't have to rip your project apart. You know, it's going to flare, and that's what we want, okay? So we are going to go right in the middle of these. We're going to work into the 6th stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here. Instead of the 8th one, we're going in the 6th one, right here. Same thing as we've been doing. You're going to do 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets. So now that we are back around, we're going to attach this shell to this shell. So don't chain anything. You want this double crochet to attach to this chain that we did in the beginning. So you're going to put it in the top of that chain, and you're going to slip stitch these guys together. So this should be attached like this. For the next few of these shells, we're going to want to work into this middle spot. So we're going to slip stitch in each stitch up to the top. So I slip stitched in the next one, and I'm gonna slip stitch into this space. So now we're in the middle, and we can work from the middle. So we are going to chain 3 like we did before. All right, and we're gonna do the same thing we did down here, except now we're working into the tops of these shells. Okay, so you're gonna chain 3. We're gonna do 2 double crochets into that chain 1 space we made before. So double crochet. Now we have 2, we need 1 more. There's your first cluster. We're gonna chain 1. We're gonna work another cluster of 3 in that same spot. Okay, so you're putting these shells on top of each other, so then they become little blossoms there. Okay, so we're gonna move to the next one. Same thing. We're gonna double crochet a cluster of 3 into that top spot there. See? We're gonna chain 1. We're gonna crochet 3 more. To create another shell. So you can see here we're working into the tops. We're not working in these spaces here. We are working into those chain 1 spaces that we made in the middle of our double crochet clusters, okay? This is important to make the pattern the way I do. If you are working in this space here, it's not gonna look the same. There's not gonna be as much lace effect. It's going to be just kind of wavy. So you wanna make sure you're paying attention to working into these top chain 1 spaces, okay? So we're gonna do this same thing from the middle of our cups is gonna be their start of round, and we're gonna work the same thing all the way around. So I will meet you back at the beginning of round once you get that. Okay, so I've worked my way back around. You can notice that I'm working into the top of each of the shells we already made, so you don't have to count much anymore, which is kind of nice. So we're gonna work this last stitch here, and we're gonna connect it again to our first beginning of round. So we've got our 2 clusters of 3 and our chain 1. So from here, don't chain anything. You're gonna just connect this double crochet with our beginning chain. So we're gonna go right into the top of that chain and slip stitch together. So every time you get to here, see how we were in this space here, we're going to slip stitch in the next stitch and slip stitch in that space. Every time you get back to the beginning of the round, we're gonna do this. So we end up in this middle space. If you don't chain, you're gonna end up in these spaces and it's not gonna look the same. So that's what I kind of want here. I want these empty diamond spaces. So we're gonna continue to work around into these spaces. I did want to make a side note for the chain around the back where we've been working into. If you feel like you need it larger than what I specified, because I do have a bigger bust versus my waistline, so if you do need it a little bit larger, just add on an extra 7 chains or an extra 14, okay? Because it tends to be a little snugger here because it's flared and not ruffly. So as we continue here, chain 3 again, we're gonna do 2 double crochets. Into that top spot, we're gonna chain 1 and 3 more double crochets. So we're going to keep doing this until you've reached your desired length. This is going to be right under your boob, and then it's going to go all the way down. I usually like to hit right the top of my hips. For me, that is 8 rounds. So I would count the blossoms. So 8 of these blossoms. So we've got 3 done here. I would need 5 more. That's usually my ideal length. But again, if you want more coverage, you can make it longer. If you want it to be more of a bikini, you can stop here and make it pretty cropped, okay? So this is preference. But to hit mid-waist, you guys have seen my body type too. I'm usually a medium. To hit my waist, I need 8 rows and with a 5mm hook. Okay, so I will meet you guys back once I have all of these 8 rows, and I will show you how to finish up and make the tie. I am back around to 8 rounds. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is just the ideal length for me. You can continue on if you would like to. So this is my last join off. So I'm just going to slip stitch into that first chain, chain 1, and bind off. So we have our top pretty much done now. Next thing we're going to make, and the last thing before weaving in all of our ends, is the bow that goes to tie to cinch the waist. That is probably one of the easiest parts of this. So we are going to start with a slip knot, and I just chain as many, I don't even count these, as many as it takes to go all the way around and to tie a bow in the front completely so it looks cute. So you're going to chain the length of it all the way around the top, leaving a little extra. So I usually measure from like here to here and then all the way around and then here to here. So then you have a little bit extra to tie a bow there, but I'm gonna chain that length now. So just keep chaining until it fits nicely around, maybe add a little extra. Okay, I've got my chain here. I didn't bind it off because I wanted to leave some room in case I needed more chains to be added. So for the next part, you're gonna need your tapestry needle. You're gonna use that tail on the chain to just thread it through. Okay. Starting from the middle where we started, that's our start of round, right below our V in the cups. You're gonna go right in there, okay? So you're just gonna thread it through until there's about the length you want left. So I'm leaving this here in case I need to add more. And I have it all the way through. Remember when we did the, chain 1 stitch, chain 1 stitch? We are going to go and thread this needle through each of those chain spaces. If you see here, you can see here's the 1 single crochet in the chain space, single crochet, chain space, single crochet, chain space. You're going to go in all of the chain spaces. So we're just going to keep threading our long chain through these chain spaces. So here's a chain space, and there's a chain space. I'm just going to keep threading it through. There's a chain space, This will take some time to find all the chain spaces, but it's going to be worth it because this is how you're going to tighten it around your body. So it's a little easier on the front. We're just going to go through the chain spaces here. But once you get to the actual, you know, back part, you're working through a smaller piece. It's going to be a little more tricky. So you're still going to work through these chain spaces. So there's a chain space. See how it's a little harder to see, but there's a chain space, and here's a chain space, and this is the stitch in between. So you're just going to thread it on through all the way around. So we're going to do this all the way around until we meet back at the front again, and you should be able to pull it out through the middle like we did going in. Okay, so I'll meet you guys back here once I've threaded it through all of the chain spaces. Okay, so I've chained it through and threaded it in, so you see they're both coming out of the same hole here. So this is going to be used to tighten your whole top once it's on. So what we're going to do here, I haven't fastened off yet, so I'm going to cut this, fasten off nice and tight. I'm going to show you how to make these tails go away, so it's a little more clean. We're going to take our tail, push this up. We're going to take our tail and fold it back on to the chain we have. So you want to make sure your tail is at least about 6 inches long. You're going to pinch it here. We're going to then tie this together here. You kind of see it's just like a regular pretzel knot. And we're going to tie those two pieces together. I'm going to push it down as much as I can so you have like a little ball at the end. See? Now this is decently secure, pulling on this, that you can cut this off and it's not going anywhere. So you have this cute little bobble at the end of your string tie. So same thing here, this one's a little shorter, so I'll show you how to do it on a shorter tail. It's a little harder, but you want to try and get those as flush together as possible. Do a little knot and push it down. Awesome, there you go. So these are secure as well. We can just cut this off. So those ties are done. So the only thing we have left to do is to sew in all of these ends. So there's a few down here, there's a few up at the top. So to secure your ends that are not worked over already, you do want to put them on the needle. When you do thread them in, you want to go in 3 different directions. And that's going to be the safest, it's not going to go anywhere. So I'm going to go up, and then I'm going to go sideways. And then I'm going to go left. So I'm going to go underneath this one and through here. So that tail is now secured in there. It's not going anywhere, so we can cut it off. So I'm going to do this with the rest of my tails, and then we will be finished. And now you should have a finished top. So this bow in the front can be untied, and that's how you tighten the back of this top. So just the halter top, and then it tightens right under the bust, so you can tighten it as much as you want or as loose as you want. That's why I like these so much. They're so comfortable because they're not like the corset ones that crisscross in the back. They don't leave lines because they're so tight trying to hold you up. So this one will kind of hold itself up by the top. So I hope you guys liked it. Let me know what you think of this pattern, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. I know I had a lot of questions on how to do this bottom blossom stitch, so I hope this was helpful, and let me know if you have any questions in the comments. I'll see you in the next one.